Rugby Championship, folks, the final round. Team of the week, with the All Blacks wrapping things up in a pretty impressive manner over the Bledisloe. There's going to be a fair few All Blacks on here, but I've made spots for guys from every team, believe it or not. We'll go through them, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on who you would have in if you were picking a team of the week. I feel like I've gone a little bit left field this week, but that's all right. Sometimes it's good to think outside the box. Props. I've interestingly gone with a Wallaby in Angus Bell, the loose head prop. He's not played a lot of rugby this year, and he looked to have a bit of kind of pent-up energy in this game. Admittedly, the Wallabies scrum got pinged, I want to say 3 or 4 times, but at least one of those times was Alan Alatoa, just his body not cooperating, and he got injured. I think one of those was Taniela Tupou, also when he was not in a good way, and I think one of them was James Slipper when he had moved to tight head. So Bell only concedes 1 penalty, so I'm kind of semi-clear him from too much wrongdoing. But around the park, the guy was magnificent, unbelievable. He has 5 defenders beaten, which is insane in that game. I think that's the most Wallabies defenders beaten. I think that's the most from any forward. I think he's only behind like Mark TELEA this week, which is insane for a prop. He's got 53 run meters, which likewise is one of the top guys in that game, certainly one of the top forwards, and he's a loose head prop. That's nuts. 13 carries. So around the park, that's an absolute 5-star performance from Angus Bell. He passes once. He's also got 1 turnover conceded. And then he's got a whopping 16 from 16 tackles. So, I don't know, man. Like I said, the Wallaby scrum was under a bit of pressure. I feel like we can't put that down necessarily to Angus Bell. And for everything else he did, he seemed to be making his mark pretty well. So, in what looks to be a pretty concerning time for the Wallabies front row, having Angus Bell come into some form, especially if they're going to need to play Slipper on the other side, that's a bit of a good news story. So, Angus Bell, a Wallaby to start things off. And to go even more left field, you kind of have to stick with me here. I've gone with a Puma, and not even the guy who started, if I can spell his name, Joel SCLAVI, the reserve tight head, who only plays just over 20 minutes. Seems like a bit of a left field one, but hear me out. He doesn't concede any penalties in the time that he's on. Cordella, I don't think, performed maybe up to the standards that we are kind of hoping that he will set in terms of the scrummaging. And then in that 20 minutes, he makes 6 carries. I mean, he only gets 5 meters because the Springboks defense wasn't giving up a heck of a lot. But that's pretty stock standard for props. But 6 carries was more than any other tight head prop this week, even the ones who played a lot more game time. So he was getting involved. He makes 1 out of 1 tackles. Remember, the Springboks didn't have a heck of a lot of ball, so not called upon to do a bit of defending. But yeah, I do think that was encouraging from the Pumas, man. So, I mean, there's other tight heads. I'll go into some honourable mentions in a bit. But, yeah, for guys who were kind of able to make an impact on the game in whatever time they had, and I'm guilty often of omitting the kind of substitutes as well, SCLAVI, he's my guy at tight head this week. Hooker is maybe more of a predictable one in old CODIE Taylor. He was fired up. He was clearly just had a point to prove. Like that try that he gets from the back of that All Blacks maul, where he is just like ramming into his own guys to just push them forward, like move, get out the way, we need to get this try. Kind of highlighted that. 12 carries, 25 meters is a good effort from him. Beats 3 defenders, and as I said, gets that maul try. He has 15 from 15 tackles. So he was really busy. And the All Blacks line-out was largely pretty solid. So, yeah, CODIE Taylor, absolutely fired up. I guess he's got Tokiaho breathing down his neck, doesn't he? And even Coles in the one game he played looked all right. So, from an All Blacks point of view, not a bad time for old CODIE Taylor to put his hand up. So there's your tight 5. Front row. Getting to the tight 5, it'll be no surprise that I've put Scott Barrett in the second row. He was a man possessed as well. That hit he put on Tate McDermott to set up the All Blacks' first try was just unbelievable. Like, you could feel it in your seat through the TV. He just walloped him. Unbelievable. Coughs up the ball, concedes a try to Tate McDermott. Scott Barrett just absolutely clobbered him. That's going to be a highlight level one, for Bledisloe's going forward. When they're doing promo pieces, they're going to show that massive hit because it was just phenomenal. So it's not a try assist, but it directly leads to a try. He also wins the line out that gets Cody Taylor's maul try. So he's the one who jumps up and kind of, helps pull the maul forward. So big involvements from him. He has 42 meters from 16 carries, which for a lock is a huge shift. 4 defenders beaten in a clean break. He shouldn't be able to get those kind of numbers. I've been critical of his ball carrying before, but he flipped me the bird for that one because, he ball carried really well. Wins 3 turnovers. I don't know. Unbelievable. Huge shift from Scotty Barrett. Really pleasing. And Sam Whitelock was on the bench. So, selection headache for Fozzie, but what a one to have with Scott Barrett's playing like that. Another kind of big effort from the second row was old EBEN ETZEBETH. I felt sorry for Santiago Carreras. He's the 10, but he was positioned out on the left wing, having to try and stop a rampaging EBEN ETZEBETH, and he just proved to be a speed bump. He ended up going for an HIA. He hit him that hard. EBEN was just... There was nothing getting between him and that goal line. So, big try from him. But not called upon to be the captain this week. So, just played like a man possessed, didn't he? He has 24 meters from his 8 carries. So, kind of similar carrying rate to Scotty Barrett. Like, Scotty Barrett had 42 meters, but he had double the carries. So, kind of similar kind of effectiveness. He breaks 3 tackles and 1 clean break. So, very similar numbers to Scotty Barrett, but fewer carries. He has 1 pass, he wins 3 lineouts, and also a 100% tackling rate with 16 from 16. The Boks were called upon to make a lot of tackles in that game, and Big EBEN was certainly not shying away from that. So, man, between those two guys, look out, you got 2 of the form locks in world rugby right now, so that is your type 5. Loose forwards, I feel like, was a bit of a trickier one. I ended up going with Shannon FRIZELL as the kind of blindside guy. And I wasn't entirely convinced. Last week he was genuinely an easy pick. This week you could go with a number of guys. I think he was kind of solid without being spectacular. He's not top 5 players of the week material, but he was still pretty good. He pounces on the Tate McDermott drop ball from the Scotty Barrett tackle, so that's a good bit of reaction time. So good thinking from him there. Gets a try. He has 14 carries, which is a huge work rate, but he only gets 15 meters. So you would genuinely expect Shannon to be getting more meterage than that. That's a little bit the work rate's good, but the result maybe not so much. He only beats 1 defender, whereas last week he had 9. So kept a lot more quiet in that regard. But he does have 10 passes, so that's good that it brings another element to his game that you genuinely don't know if he's going to pass or carry, because some guys... sometimes when I see Rico Ioane, he's just going to run it. But yeah, 10 passes from Shannon, including offload. Also 9 from 10 tackles. That's a phenomenal, result. 90%. He does concede a penalty, but overall, Shannon was good. He was good. I still think he's got a lock on that number 6 jersey for New Zealand. Other flanker I've gone with Pablo MATERA from the Pumas. Now, it's a weird one with the Pumas guys because some of their numbers aren't that outstanding. The Springboks didn't concede a whole heck of a lot of run meters and clean breaks and stuff, so you don't have that many guys who've just got 100 run meters. And the Pumas had so much ball that they didn't have to make, there's no guys with 30 tackles or something stupid like that. But MATERA, he has 12 carries, which is among the top for his team. He only gets 9 meters, but again, it's similar to FRIZELL. Its work rate maybe more than necessarily result, because as I said, the Bok defense was not coughing up a lot of run meters. He beats 2 defenders, which is among the best of the guys this week for Argentina. He's got 7 passes, which kind of like FRIZELL shows his involvements with with the Pumas play. And sometimes he loves spinning that wide ball. There's at least once a game where he will just try and spin a ball really wide out to the wing. Hasn't quite managed to pay off with a direct try assist just yet, but he likes giving it a crack. He wins 4 lineouts, so he's the top guy for lineouts in that entire match, and he is the top Pumas tackler with 10. He's the only Puma to get double figures. So one of their top carriers, one of their top tacklers, their top lineout man. Like, in terms of, just as I said, the pure numbers, I don't think it's that flash, but in terms of the context of the game, I think Pablo MATERA, did pretty well. Led from the front, does concede a penalty as well, but yeah, there you go. And number 8, I had to go with the guy playing his last game for the Springboks on South African soil, on Dwayne Vermeulen. Also, kind of a big shift. At times, again, the box didn't have that much ball, so it wasn't that easy, but he still manages 7 carries for 53 metres. Like, if the first 2 Lucies weren't that kind of prolific in their run meterage, well, Vermeulen bucks that trend. Like, he's got the second most run meters in that entire game. 53 is not usually going to be the top 2, top 3 in a game. Usually guys, wingers and fullbacks and whatnot, 70, 80, 90, 100, but 53, second most in that game. So for context, that's massive. He's got a couple of passes. He wins a line out, and like FRIZELL, he tackles at 90%, 9 from 10. He also concedes, actually 2 penalties for him, but yeah, overall, I thought he was one of South Africa's better players, and with Visa kind of being seen as the premier, maybe ball-carrying number 8 for South Africa, just keeps his hand up in that conversation as well with that big carrying effort. So those are your forwards for the team of the week. Now, I'm going to go a little bit left field with my halfback, because I am going with another Puma, and it's another substitute. GONZALO BERTRANOU. I think with that performance indicates why he should be starting. I know that they rotated just to give some other guys a chance, but BERTRANOU, I think, at the World Cup starts. I mean, he comes on at like 49 minutes, so he gets not quite half the game, but his impact is immediately felt. Like, he has 61 passes. To do that in as many minutes as he did shows you how much ball the Pumas had, and how his kind of work rate at getting to the back of that ruck was excellent. 5 runs for 14 metres. Again, in the limited game time he got, it's pretty good. He's got 2 clean breaks, including a try, which gets them within a point at the death. It's a consolation try, but again, it's that kind of wave after wave of Pumas attack that he's helping direct. And then when he sees the opportunity at the side of that ruck, he takes it. He puts in 4 kicks. He beats a defender. He makes 2 from 3 tackles. Doesn't concede any penalties. So, yeah, man, BERTRANOU, I thought, added some impact. And at the World Cup, I expect to see him with the number 9 on his back, assuming he is fit. 10 was also a tricky one. I ended up going with old MANIE LIBBOK. And again, it's tough given the box didn't have any ball in the second half. Like, he missed a couple of kicks, but still got some penalties to keep the scoreboard ticking over. And his highlight reel moment is obviously the try. Faf de Klerk pounces on loose ball, and LIBBOK has got the wheels easily, to score that try with some pretty quick guys chasing it down. Like, Sinti is a midfielder and winger, so the fact that he didn't have the gas to slow down or to catch up to MANIE LIBBOK shows he does have that kind of X factor in his game if the Springboks are without Pollard, or if they just want to go with a 10 who's going to be able to kind of exploit any kind of half gaps. 7 runs, 62 metres. The majority of those metres will be not intercept, but the turnover ball. He also beats 3 defenders though, which is really encouraging. Like, I think Mo'unga beat 4, and Mo'unga's kind of known for that. So for LIBBOK to get 3 in a performance when his team had less than half the ball, I think is pretty good. A try, 2 conversions, and a penalty. 10 passes, 6 kicks. So I think he distributed well, but again, limited ball, kind of hard to get his skills on full display. 4 from 7 tackles. He would like to get a little bit better, but man, he's going to be so much better for having had that performance kind of under the belt, I reckon. It's not an emphatic one by the Boks by any means. It's one that they'll look back on, I think, take a fair few lessons from, but they still managed to get a win no matter what happens. So yeah, LIBBOK with that gas, put him at number 10, man. If there's no Pollard, it's got to be LIBBOK. Midfield, we're getting back to an All Blacks theme here when I chuck in another Barrett brother and old JORDIE. JORDIE, he's looking the business, isn't he? Kind of question marks about him at 12 as to whether he was the right guy. The All Blacks only seemed to really reluctantly play him when they had a bit of an injury crisis last year. But he seems to have just locked up that position. And it's weird because he's been going on, I don't want to say going on, but he's been in the media multiple times talking about how he wants to play 12 for ages. Like back when Nani Laumape was still at the Canes, kind of keeping him out of that opportunity. But 6 runs, 67 metres, beats 3 defenders. That's some classy ball carrying. He's got 6 passes and an offload. He wins 3 turnovers and 9 from 11 tackles. Like, defensively, weirdly, has been one of the kind of standout players, you know, in this All Blacks midfield. He's stepping up and, you know, making the hits. He's one of the All Blacks top tacklers. He does concede a penalty, but it's also like his little pop pass, quick hands to Mo'unga, who then kind of bats it to Will Jordan. That sets up an All Blacks try. So, man, he's got a kicking game. He's got a passing game. He can carry. He can tackle. He's a big guy. Yeah, he seems to be doing all right, does our Jordie. And I've put his midfield partner, Rieko Ioane, next to him in the midfield as well. I'm still never that, I don't know, how do I put it? Like, I still got a bit of a question mark about Rieko, but there's no doubting that guy can carry. And he actually passes more times than Jordie Barrett this game, which is uncharacteristic. He's got 8 passes and he even kicks it once. But man, 11 runs, 69 metres, beats a couple of defenders. He's got 1 big carry right before the TELEA try. He does well to get over the advantage line, which gives the team the ability to kind of spread it wide. He's the one who recovers a loose pass. Was it Roigard that chucked the pass? Kind of to nobody. He recovers it and chucks it wide for TELEA and then runs the support line to score a try. I don't know. He seems to be making good decisions. He makes 8 from 11 tackles, including one that puts Marika Korombedi into touch. Now, the Marika Korombedi one, it's a try saver, but they find a try was scored earlier on anyway, but like, he didn't know that at the time. So he's still able to put in that defensive shift. So, like, I still have a little bit of a question mark about him, but he's convincing me slightly more every week. What can I say? Like, he certainly did concede 1 penalty, which was kind of a dumb one where he got in Scott Barrett's way and then just got in the way of the breakdown. But ultimately, I still think he added more than he took away from that All Blacks performance. So there you go. That's your midfield. Outside backs, I have gone with Mark TELEA on one wing. He continues to be an absolute danger man. He managed 17 carries in this game, which is just massive. Boy, was he looking to get his hands on the ball. And he's the only guy this week to clock over 100 metres. He, in fact, gets 127. I think the next best ball carrier for the entire week was 90. So TELEA is a proper powerhouse. 5 clean breaks is stupid numbers. He's got more clean breaks than most guys can get defenders beaten. And generally, you break more tackles than you break the line. So that's nuts. And he's also got 9 defenders beaten, which again is far and away the most of the week. I think the second guy was Angus Bell with 5. So TELEA is a proper attacking powerhouse, keeping Caleb Clark out of a job, although he's still on the bench. 4 passes and offload. He's only got 2 from 4 tackles, so that's still a little bit of a cloud. 2 turnovers conceded and 2 penalties conceded, so certainly not a perfect performance, but man, he's dangerous. He gets a try assist for the Rieko try. Gets a try of his own. I don't know, man. Yeah, he is a proper weapon, old Mark TELEA. The other guy I've gone with on the wings, anyway, is his wing partner in Will Jordan. And bloody hell, if you're a non-All Blacks fan, you'd have to be worried about playing that guy. He seems he's one of those guys that's just so hard to stop. Like, my son's team has got one really good player, and he always wears blue headgear. And you can hear the opposition mums and dads saying, who's going to stop the kid in the blue headgear? But they just can't stop him. And Will Jordan is exactly the same. That's a weird example, but you know he's there. You know what he's going to do. You put 3 guys on him, and he still does it anyway. He must be a really annoying guy to have to play against. I don't like him when he plays for the Crusaders because he's very dangerous. But geez, he's good for the All Blacks. 15 runs is just a little bit behind Mark TELEA. Not quite as prolific in the run meterage with 47. But still, 3 clean breaks. Still 3 defenders beaten. And he still scores like a try out of nowhere. The tip pass from Mo'unga. He's got guys coming across to cover him down. Shut him down. He just steps inside and makes it look effortless. Whereas I think other guys potentially get clobbered in that situation. It was great footwork. He gets a try assist, which again sees that footwork where he steps and offloads for the TELEA try. I don't know, man. 11 passes, 4 kicks. even 11 from 11 tackles and a turnover 1. It's not even his best game for the All Blacks, and he finishes with a try and a try assist. Like, he's unbelievable. He's a really good player. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. He's going to be an important guy for the All Blacks to keep fit going into the World Cup. And last guy, I wasn't sure who to go with at fullback. And I may have gone a bit left field, but hear me out. I've gone with Andrew Kellaway. Now, the reason I say hear me out, because, I mean, if you look back at the game, there's the Mo'unga tip pass for the Jordan try, and Kellaway's shooting up to try and shut that down, but he can't do it. He's beaten by that tip pass. It's a pretty good tip pass, so I blame Kellaway. Sometimes you're just beaten by a bit of skill. And then also for the, was it the TELEA try? When Will Jordan makes that step, like Corin Betty shoots out of the line and misses Will Jordan. So Kellaway has to bite in, and because he bites in, Jordan's got the space to give it to TELEA for a try. But I feel like if Corin Betty doesn't miss that tackle, Kellaway doesn't bite in. So that's what I mean. Like, there's a little bit, like, he's directly there when the All Blacks score 2 tries, but how much of the blame is his? Don't know. But 13 runs for 90 metres in a game where the Wallabies attacking play sometimes look good and sometimes look pretty average. I think he was one of the guys who looked pretty safe. That's good numbers, like second best run meters for the week. 2 clean breaks and 2 defenders beaten is nothing to kind of turn your nose at, because, yeah, the All Blacks have been in some good form. Kellaway's first game back, I thought he looked... If you had him or Tom Wright, I'm going Kellaway all day long. He's got 6 passes. He wins a quick line out. He puts in a couple of kicks. He makes 4 from 4 tackles. Like I said, he's kind of there when a couple of All Blacks tries to score. But as I said, he maybe individually doesn't have that kind of key failure. He does have 2 turnovers conceded. But yeah, I do feel like he looks pretty decent at the back. By no means top 5 player of the week, but Kellaway, I thought, was one of the kind of positives, like Angus Bell, in what was a long night at the office for the Wallabies. There you go, that's the 15. Honourable mentions, Ethan de Groot continues to power the scrum, knock the house down. What is the phrase? He's playing really well for the All Blacks. His scrummaging was good. He made 12 tackles. Ethan de Groot's phenomenal. Stephen Kitsoff won 3 turnovers for the Springboks. So you are spoiled for choice if you wanted to pick a different loose head this week. Tight head Tyrell Lomax, again, didn't concede any penalties. He's scrummaging the house down as well. Lavanini in the second row. I think he was the top carrier for the Pumas. He was absolutely everywhere. Loose forwards, Artie Sarvea made 55 metres, which was a shift. Valetini had 44 metres and 20 tackles. Also a shift. Papali'i made 26 tackles and 1 a turnover. Tom Hooper made 30 tackles. He missed 5, but 30 is huge in a losing shift, as I say. Mo'unga kicked some bloody good kicks from the sideline, beat 4 defenders. If you wanted to chuck him in at 10, I wouldn't blame you. Nawani Wase continues to impress on that right wing for the Wallabies. He beat 5 defenders. Carreras got another try for the Pumas. Bodie Barrett at the fullback position still looks pretty bloody good for the All Blacks. So, yeah, folks, there you go. You guys let us know your thoughts on the team. Who would you have if you were picking? There are a couple of left field ones, and especially guys who played less than half the game from the bench. But, yeah, Rugby Championship done and dusted. We still have All Blacks Wallabies from Dunedin coming this week, and we still have the Boks travelling to Argentina to play. So we've still got lots of rugby coming, and then a heap of Rugby World Cup warm-up games. If you want to see me and Tony from Distracted Sports kind of break some of the games down from the weekend, check out the 2 Cents Gets Distracted podcast, which we record pretty much once a week. Try to keep things on track, but sometimes we go a bit left field. But there'll be a card up there to an old episode, and I'm sure there'll be a new episode about these games just gone in the coming days. But yeah, you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.